So this is what we started with. We had a empty, blank 2-car garage that was a storage unit. Started by vacuuming it out, sweeping it out with the shop vac. There was one drywall wall, at least there was drywall previously hung in the ceiling, so I started to mud that and kind of start spiffing things up. And knew this was going to be a place that we spend a lot of time, me in particular. So we mudded the walls. My wife Megan, of course, helped, and dog Ruby was there. And it actually ended up turning out pretty nice, all things considered. We were lucky enough that each of the garage doors had garage door openers on them, so those come in handy. And there were switches for lights, but of course these fluorescent lights that were in there were not going to work for building a plane. So I took care of that eventually too. You'll see that here in the future. I also insulated the garage doors with a garage door insulation kit that I got from Amazon. I got 2 of them. The Owens Corning garage door insulation kit. That worked out good.
Well, it may not look like much, but I can tell you, it's a heck of a lot nicer than it was. Hi, honey. How you feeling? Are your arms tired? What'd you say? Babe, speak up for the camera.
They're doing well.
This place looks like the scene of Texas Chainsaw Massacre when we first found it, so it's getting better.
So we rented a paint sprayer from Home Depot, which actually worked out great. We only needed it for like a day and a half. We, believe it or not, put a total of 23 gallons of the Kills primer paint on the walls. That's a lot of paint, but we did it quickly and it turned out pretty nice.
Oh, hi!
What code is this?
4062.
How many gallons do you know?
15.
18 gallons. By the time we were all said and done with it, it was 23 gallons because I had to go back to Lowe's and get paint twice, believe it or not. Next thing was time to build the work tables that I was going to build the plane on. For the work tables, of course, we had to add the LED lights in there too, and you'll see multiple heaters. It's getting cold. This is in November of 2022. And I went back and forth on what exact type of tables to build the plane on. You know, the brands recommends a 4-foot by 12-foot table to build on. A lot of people have used the crate that the plane comes in, and you'll see that coming up here in the video. Issue with that is the nice part is you can reuse some of the particle board and the wood. The problem is it's not very tall, and I like to work off of a tall table. I know that from doing surgery. I like my tables tall, and I've had to build my own surgery table and have it welded and such, and so I knew I wanted to build something taller than the crate that the plane came in. I also went back and forth about whether to build on tables with wheels versus not wheels, because it's very important that they're perfectly level. What I ended up deciding on was kind of a modification of the EAA build tables that they recommend. There's plans on the EAA website, and I think it's like the chapter, I forget what the number of the chapter build table it is, but anyway. I used that, I just modified it. I made them a little bit longer and a little bit taller. So what I am building on throughout all of my videos, you'll see 2-foot by 7-foot tables, and there's 4 of them. So that when I have them all put together, I have 4-foot by 14. And I thought that would be good for working on parts individually. You know, you start off on the rudder, you only need one of those tables. So that was a good decision. I'm really glad I went with that. So I built the first table to completion, and then I built the second table on top of the first table. And you'll see me going around the table here and shimming it all up so that it's as level as I could possibly get it. I used 1/4-inch plywood for the shelf on the bottom of the table, the lower shelf. That's not on there yet, but you'll see it in the end, at the very end. And I went back and forth about whether to use maple or maple like cabinet top, which you see to the left of the screen, or MDF for the top. I went ahead and chose the maple, and that's worked pretty good. It is not perfectly flat. I mean, you do have to shim some things when you're building things like the elevator, the horizontal stabilizer. You want to build that on a rectangular tubing, which you'll see in those videos. And after I had the first two done, then I built the second two on the top of those. They all turned out great. I'm glad I went with this table on this design. I got all of the materials at Home Depot or Lowe's. I originally started off with a 3-inch wheel on the first two tables. The second two, I think I used a 4-inch, and both of those work well. When I had the 4-inch wheel, I just made the lowest leg an inch shorter so that the tables were the same height. And the bigger the wheel, the easier they roll over bumps and that type of a thing. I hope these videos helped. I know I went back and forth about table design when I was doing the start of my build. They turned out great, and while I was doing this, Megan was working on the flooring, which you'll see in our next video.